think we're live. Let me move my mic semi-close to me. This is all very precarious at the moment. I have almost got my studio rework done. The problem is I have it set up really well for how I'll work. Maybe not so well for how I'll stream just yet. I think that what I really need, because I'm trying to work on this side of the room, but my computer that I'm streaming from is on that side, which is all of 7 feet across, but still. So I'm like trying to have cameras and mics over here, and I'm running cables over there, and the USB cords are never all that long. So I might try to look into if I can get a, what do you call it? A dock? A hub that has a cable, like at least a 6-foot cable, probably, so that I could kind of run it around the side and have everything plugged in. And like right now I am completely trapped in this space because I've pulled out a cart and everything into the space that I would normally walk through, and that it's still a little chaos, but at least the lighting's pretty good, and yeah, the space overall is better. Yeah, so good morning. How is everybody? I think, are we? I'm gonna check how well I'm focused on these guys real quick. So pardon the crazy zoom for a second. Oh, I think we're actually pretty good. And I'm also trying to work on very small paintings. These are 7 5x7s on an easel, so they're upright. I thought that might be a little easier for videotaping, but it's weird. And having set up my easel for the first time in a few years, and it was a hand-me-down, I'm realizing that it's fine and usable, but it's not a great easel. Like, there's no piece to hold in something on the top, so you can't really have a piece at an angle that's very upright. Because to do that, I would just have to like close in the legs. It's like a tripod base, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. So you can't really adjust much of your work space. Thinking about getting what they call a convertible easel, that you can have it very upright and actually tipping forward a little bit, which I think would be most useful if you're working with pastels, and lean it back, have it just straight. Or you can actually turn it flat for working, which I think is pretty cool. Would be neat. So I'm thinking about doing that as my next upgrade. The other thing that I haven't done in this space yet is a couple things that I mean to install into the wall, which are lights. Like right now I have these guys running, which are like photography lights, right? Studio lighting for photography, which provides great light for working on art with, but they're not good for just having running all the time. They're kind of noisy, they're huge, they have a big footprint. So I've got 2 lamps that they're like adjustable arm lamps. And I'm going to put one on each side of where my easel is, so I can pull them out and adjust them and have them at hopefully a nice about 30-degree angle for working. But after I messed around with trying to get them installed into the wall, I didn't have the proper anchors. So I went out yesterday and I bought wall anchors. I went to Home Depot, and I haven't had the chance to do that yet. I think I need to recharge my drill battery too. So, and this place where I live is an older building, 1960s construction, originally apartments, now it's condos at some point. I don't know, I think maybe in the 70s or 80s they converted it to condos. Whatever, it's like they have some kind of material right behind the drywall probably sound dampening or something, and you can only drill as far as the drywall, so that makes things really difficult to install anything on walls. Yeah, I've run into that problem trying to put up curtain rods and stuff, but it's surprising that it's even on like the interior walls. Like the other side of this wall is the hallway from which you access the rooms of our unit. It's not a shared wall with anybody. So it's odd to me that it would be there too. What do I know? Just a lowly artist trying to figure out things in the world. Okay, so these are 2 of my 6 pieces. These I worked on stream the last couple streams, these figures here, and I did go ahead and finish the little windows, and I finished her off stream. I have a couple other sketched out to paint the figures on, but I thought I'd go ahead and move on to what I want to do next on these today. And that's going to be actually adding some collage words and doing some drawing on them. So that's the plan. I have gone through, to some extent, what I have for words, and I cut out some new things, and I've just some rough ideas, so we'll make some decisions on those today. I will actually get out. It is nice that I can reach about anything from here, the way that I've tried to really be thoughtful in the way that I've organized. Okay. Sketchbook page. I'm going to set it here. And I'm going to use that to look at some of the words that I have cut out. So, I don't know why I pulled this one, but good girl. I just dripped coffee on it. I mean to make these be a little bit more positive. Like a lot of my work talks about some pretty like heavy things, you know. This is not working at all. Issues, mental health issues, issues that women face in the world, and rights and things like that. And I try to do it, like I have a sense of humor about it. I try to have a sense of humor about it, but it can be, there's also like a heavy side to it, a dark side to it, which makes things a little bit different and difficult. It can. Okay, so I need to adjust this here so you can see what I'm doing on the paper. All right, for now, come on, hold out just there for now. While I'm clipping things on this board and thinking through this part of stuff. Okay. I actually might need to dig out some paper clips. Okay, so I got Can Do Wonderful Things. This series, the small series, is meant to be more like personally, like, hey, the world kinda sucks, but that doesn't mean that we can't make ourselves happy, better people, joyful, weirder, and hopefully influence the world as we do that. Oh my gosh, I've gotten so many phone calls this morning. I don't know what's happening in the world. Why hell call me? Okay. So I've got, and you've got blank, but that's only the beginning. So I'd fill that in with something. Could be joy. Got a little tiny joy there. All right, let me get out. Kind of wish I had some sticky tack or something for these right now. Oh no, my camera's in front of the drawer. Okay, let's use the brain for a second. What do we got? What can I work with that I have here? I'm walled in, so it has to be right here. Anything. Okay. Whatever. I don't have anything. Okay, joy. set it down there. And so it could be, and you got joy, but that's only the beginning. True eccentric. I really like this kind of thing. I think that by the weirder we are, the truer to our most authentic selves that we are, which tends to make us weirder because that's less conformist with what's expected of us from our families, society, our communities. So the weirder we are, probably the better, happier, well-adjusted people we are, and the better position we are to do good, wonderful things in the world. Here's another one. We know you'll be glad you did. That's kind of fun. Ah, and I knocked down my joy. Come back, Joy. There you are. Why would Joy be leaving me? Okay. I needed the most underrated. I have a couple more tiny ones. These are from, you know, cutting things out of magazine articles in an out of context kind of way. Could change your life. What else we got this weird? Or that's good. Love this one. Weird beep. More and need. So this is one I think is probably good. Oh, cinema flying. Fly to the moon. Okay. Need more weird leap. I think that's probably going to be one right there. Not really, I actually really, the colors happen to work out pretty well. So I will set these to the side together. Oh, there goes my joy again. Stay there, joy. Satisfaction. Right now, no particular order. Right now. And I have strong. I think strength is part of it all. Work at it. It's like piecing together a puzzle, and I have a lot more stuff, and I can seek out a lot more. I have a lot of random pieces that are just like the little words like of, the, a, to, be, all that kind of thing. Pronouns and stuff. My thing's in the way. Oh no, what fell now? Okay, something fell. Where'd it go? Okay, so let me think. Maybe work at it and true eccentric to go together, perhaps. You've got, okay. The need more weird shit. I really like that. I think that might work better on a different piece than the two that I have out right now. So what would be good for these? You've got joy, but that's only the beginning. I think that's a good one for the girl in the umbrella. I think we'll do that. No, still, this is not the ideal way to work at an easel, trying to do this. Just what I happen to have my camera set up for today. So it's just figuring out the best way. And I think it has a lot to do with longer cables, but that'll be the next thing. That and an easel, a better easel. Okay, so you've got joy, but that's only the beginning. You think? What do you think? Thoughts? You see something I don't? I have an idea. I really like this Can Do Wonderful Things too because it's got the flowers at the top, but it's quite large. So it would take up a lot of space on these small canvases, so I'd need to really plan around that. But I think I will use that one for sure right now. Okay, so one of the things I can do is this is cut out very roughly, so I can clean it up a little bit. Do I want to keep the word "and" on here is a question. And you've got, but that's only the beginning. Could just be you've got. This is a question. A lot of these phrases, these come from very old ads. That's some of the best stuff from like 1950s and 60s magazines. You just, take some stuff out of context. I also like to cut up women's magazines, like a lot of the ones that are colored and the more modern fonts are going to be from like what are they? I bought a bunch like used online for cheap Cosmos. Is that right? I think that's yeah. They're all in the bin right now. Yes, magazines like that. And man, I wish I could get my hands on more from like the 90s and the 80s because I just so much hasn't aged very well from then in terms of how we talked to ourselves and each other as women and like what we thought was not problematic then. And it's really amazing because, I was alive those times and it didn't feel, nothing felt that weird, but I guess you just you recognize it as you get better about things. In theory, right? You learn, you grow. And you've got, so it's a little neater. So I've got a little bump going on under that G over here. I'm going to need a vacuum in here again. I do have a rug that is, I picked it up at the Habitat for Humanity Restore for about $24, something like that. It's an IKEA rug, and I liked it because it's the right size. It's 5x7, and for the space, I just really needed something that could go under my easel, my paint area, so that I don't need to worry about destroying the carpet anymore. It already is. And where was I going with my line of thought? Yes, used rugs. I like it. Obviously, somebody took some effort to clean it up a bit. Not a ton. That's people. That's just, how people are. You're donating stuff. It's like, just move along. So I brought it in the house, and I knew I'd need to do some cleanup to it. My cat confirmed it because he just was nuts, like sniffing at it, like doing his mouth is open to really get those smells. He's just obsessed, just going over it. So I did the sprinkling everything with baking soda, letting it sit, and then vacuuming that up, which helped. And then after I did that, I did some spot cleaning with like a little carpet cleaner or spray can thing, Spot Shot or one of those types of things. Took care of little spots and areas that looked particularly grungy. It's still not perfect, but my cat does not freak out about it anymore. And yeah, it works. It totally works. It was, I think, a totally reasonable price for what I needed for something in here. Like basically a drop cloth that would stay put. that I can roll my chair over and not have it be a huge problem. So, okay, I'm cutting out a little bit more neatly some of the guys that I decided I'm going to use. So I'm going to do, and you've got joy, but that's the beginning. Need more weird shit and true eccentric, work at it. Or work at it, true eccentric. So I'm going to, now I'm deciding whether or not to cut off this white space. Because this was just like probably a sloppy cutout from a magazine, knowing I could trim it later. Work at it. Do I want to trim that down? Okay, we'll just hold on to that and decide. Okay, so all this now I can put away. Yeah, try to do it without dropping everything on the floor. And keep it together. So I'll still be looking at this. So that's 3 out of my 6 pieces. Plus this is part of 1, so that'll be 4. So I will still need to figure out 2 more. I might have to cut out a few more things or rework look at what I have again. I collect stuff like this over time, so that when I know I'm going to want to add some text to something, I kind of watch for stuff that fits a certain type of like language that I would use. And I grab them when I see them, and I put them in a little Tupperware bin so I can go back to it at any time and quickly find some things. Every now and again, when you need something very specific, it's not going to get you what you want, but okay, so take this down. It's nice to have table space. So back to these guys. I'm deciding where I'm going to put what on them. So zoom in a little bit more, not out, in, just my focus. All right, there we go. I do enjoy the colorfulness of these guys. All right, so these are going to go on this one, possibly sideways, which will kind of mirror the little pieces of upside down postcard pink flamingos that are up here, and also the shapes of the skyscrapers. Yeah, I could kind of break it up, let there be some overlap, but no, I'm not trying to use it as like a label. I don't want that to become like it's a label. I want it to be like a thing that is a goal, a positive thing to work towards. And I think I am going to trim the white on this a little bit. So just clean that up a hair on the one side, really straighter. And yeah, we'll take off a little of that excess, not all of it, like 1/4 of an inch or so. Well, that wasn't very straight. I don't really do straight lines very well. Okay. So we'll come in here. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. Just float it in, again, about 1/4 of an inch. That's not straight. Hold on. I am going to fix this corner a little bit. Try not to make it worse while I'm at it. Okay, come on. Look at it. What about here? I'm going to have it meet this piece right along the edge, right at the top. Right there. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so got my handy pH neutral adhesive. I love that things are just in arm's reach. I got a tiny little palette that I can use, put some of this in, then I can use my brush. And it's much nicer to apply things that way. Note to self, a bright easel for these pieces was not the best decision, but go with it for today. It's fine. I will work it all out. Okay, so throw a little adhesive on the back of this guy. I don't go too heavy because especially anything that's from like newer magazines, it's very very thin paper, gets very delicate if it gets wet at all, so you gotta be a little bit careful, and it will buckle very easily and start to ripple. So you don't want to go too heavy with application, and then we'll put a light glaze over the front as well. So that will kind of lock it in. Sort of. I've never done paper mache, but I guess this is sort of what I assume that's kind of like working with. Okay, and now for my little tricks and trick bit, same thing. Apply my adhesive on the back. I'm going to overlap a little bit and come down so it overlaps but not completely, just partially, and then brush the top, which is making sure there's no air bubbles as well as locking it in. Okay. So that won't take very long to dry. And do the same thing on this guy. So now, gotta decide where these will go. I don't really like usually to have it just be You know what? I think I'm going to separate these into 2 separate strips. I think I want to leave the and. Okay. I'm going to cut below the red line for the bottom part. I'm going to leave the red line for the top and trim it at the end of the word got. So let's get that off of here. That'll give me more options. All right. That's just the beginning. All right, that one's cut off. Get rid of we'll see. I might leave the tail on there. All right, trim off this little bit here. Of course, nothing like having a straight line on your piece so that you can really tell when anything you cut is not straight. I could align it right to the top. The problem with doing something like that is taking into consideration framing, because frames always overlap your edges a bit. Okay, I'm going to take off some of the red line on the end. Maybe I'll line that this side, and then Joy would come, maybe overlap it over here. Thinking. Thinking. Stop a bit. And you've got difficult decisions. Because there's not really like undoing it once you place these down. They're not coming up to be repositioned. So you gotta feel like you know what you're doing. Could just be at the bottom here. But again, I pull it in a little bit. And you've got, and then with that, darn it. Come here, you. You're running away from me. And maybe that would go in kind of at a diagonal. It's kind of either that or it's got to be right at the top. I think I'd rather have it here. The downside to working with not digital collage, because digital collage, you can just resize everything. Okay. Which of course we cannot do here. Alright, so a little bit of our paste. It's right about here. And work from a center spot out, push it, get rid of any air bubbles and ripples. As long as you haven't applied too heavy or too wet, you should be pretty good. Ooh, I'm starting to lift up some of the ink. Okay. So that is all we want down there. All right, we're gonna let that dry. Maybe it actually started to smear some of the ink. That was surprising. Oh, and we are getting some rippling on this guy. Okay. We're gonna just let that be now. I'm gonna touch up this edge a little bit. I don't want to touch anything with the writing on it because I'm picking up ink. Okay. Where's my joy? There we are. Okay. Joy. And you've got joy. It's falling off a little bit there. Okay. Small and easy to apply. And the last piece. That's only the beginning. Let me see. I think I'd rather those weren't actually touching, maybe. Right, let's see. No. I don't think I like it that far away from. Nope. Trying to get everything in frame and I'm just making things worse. Okay. That's just beginning. Okay. I don't know. I guess maybe it does need to come up here. At an angle too that doesn't completely, well, it kind of creates a little shape. You know, we're just gonna go with that. We're gonna go with this. And I'm gonna hold it on one end and tape it on from the other. I think that will make it easy to reposition because it's kind of a long, awkward piece. Okay. Half of it is in place, so easier to put on the other half. Get all the way in there where it was. And then a little more light layer of adhesive and give it another brush out. Okay. All right. There we go. That's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that one. I wouldn't say it's done. I'm still going to probably draw into it a little bit, but that's a really good start. Pretty happy with that one. Definitely has a bit with the pink text on that word and the flamingos and some of the fuchsia and pink tones here. Definitely has a pink thing going, so I'll probably, if I draw into it, offset that a bit, maybe some bright yellows. And yeah, some warmer colors with yellow tones to them, perhaps. So, okay. Those look good, I think, for what I meant to achieve with that. Now. Cleaning my brush real quick. I don't want any paste drying on there. So by my next stream on Monday, I will probably maybe open with a bit of a tour of like how I've set up my studio. And I can talk a little bit about where I found things that I've used, repurposed a couple of things, and some decisions I made, lighting and so forth. So I think that might be a fun way to start it. And then we'll get into working on some hopefully fun stuff. Maybe a bigger piece. I might take a little break from working on these little guys. I'll keep working on adding my figurative stuff on the other ones, and also be searching for a longer cabled hub, so that I will have less of the issues of like trying to work around having things nearby. Like if you could see right now, I have this little cart right over here. It like holds, I have been using it to hold like paints and things. It's a little like 3-level cart on wheels. You see them, like they're sell them everywhere. And I have the paint still all on the top of my acrylic paints anyway. And on top of those, I precariously have balanced my iPad so that I can see the stream without having to turn around back to the computer as much and so forth. Make sure that nothing's falling off the rails. And my mic is sitting on the paints right there too. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Might actually do me some good to get a mic arm. I don't know. Get them. I think I can get them for around $20, so that wouldn't be the worst expense. But yeah, we'll see if we can make it work with if I just get a dot, because that's what I need for everything across the board. This camera, the mic, they're pretty much at like the extent of how far I can get them away from my computer, and I've had to pull out my easel a little bit. And so like my table where my palettes and paints and such are is like a little bit more of a reach than would be ideal, but it works not well enough. But yeah, figuring things out. I'm really trying to be thoughtful in the setup of making a studio space that works well for the way that I want to work creatively painting, because I work with a lot of different mediums. I work with watercolor, which I need to be able to work flat for. If I have a larger canvas for either oils or acrylics, an easel is ideal. I do have another tabletop easel I probably will set up over on the table behind me too. And this is a very small space that I'm working in. About 7 feet by 7 feet ish, 7 by 8 maybe. So replacing really wide desks with much narrower pieces that have some storage built into them was a very important change in here. But anyway, so that's where that is. I think I will probably next pull out some oil pastels that I have. And might add a little bit of line work on these guys using oil pastels, because those will absolutely go over the acrylic. I just have these two little sets. I think I've shown them on here before. They're just these very old school 1960s sets that I just love. They were my dad's, and when he passed and we were going through things, any of his old art supplies from way back in the day, I got to take. Nobody else would want it. They work just fine, just as they would if they were brand new. And I just really love the design. I love the fonts of the old design work, and even of the covers. Sakura Crepas, made in Japan, that one. And this one is made in Korea. I don't think they're a year? No years. That would be curious. I would be curious about that. The main thing that I know is that my dad mostly did work with, and anything he did with art was a lot of in college and such, that time period. Before, according to my mom, it was before they were married. And so we are talking likely 60s-ish. Very likely. I believe. Okay, anyway. Let's see. Now they are, I don't know how, not sure exactly how transparent they'll be. Oh, not at all. Wonderful. So I might add some, using the white one here, just some scribbles and line work to create some texture. Some parts a little heavier than others. Sometimes you gotta really, see, hard to tell what that color was until I marked on the paper and, oh, hey, brown. I am thinking, between the two sets, they're very similar colors, but not exactly the same. Like one set has gray and a more yellowy green. The other one has a more minty green. No gray. They both have like a skin tony pink. One has, they both have kind of different oranges, I think. Yeah, one Oh, that's pretty close to the same oranges once I get past that outer coating. Yeah, this is interesting. One has like a straight up pink where the other one does not. Giving her a little outline. Bit of a halo maybe for my ladies here. And kind of blend them a little bit too. Interesting thing with oil pastels. One of the interesting things. There, I like some of this texture that's coming in here. Some of it I'm kind of pushing into smooth out into the texture of the canvas, but some I'm just going to let sit on top. It's more rough. All right. The only thing I don't know, I'm not sure if the oil pastels have, like, they say non-toxic, but I do kind of hate the feeling you get in your fingers working with them. Trying to get some more saturated yellow on here, and it might need a little to combine it with a little bit of, oh sorry, there we go, the white, and then put the yellow over the white to make it less muddied and green. Maybe. I also can always use paint too, besides just the pastels. Grab some of that orange. Because I'm laying these colors over green and there is a hint of transparency, it's having certainly a different effect on the colors. Any color you put down is going to be affected by the colors around it, of course, or under it especially, but if there's any translucency. Okay. So I am kind of pulling up some whites on deliberately, especially in this piece, because of the white in the text, so that it doesn't stand out as being like such an eye catcher on its own, where it really is just like shockingly out there. I'll do things like this to help balance it. So it's not the only place that there is white on the canvas. I will do some more. I will do some more in the bottom of this piece too. We definitely have plenty of room to work with these guys. And I think I need to warm up my coffee, and I planned ahead and I brought some warm coffee in a thermos. Smart. Once in a while. Once in a while, the brain is working. So my next stream where I will do a little studio tour. If anyone's, I don't know if people are interested, but I love that kind of thing. I love to see how other people work. I don't know if there's a little like voyeur in me that way, but I love to see how people function in their spaces. Especially creative spaces. Like how do you decorate it, which I've not finished doing in here yet. How do you set it up to be functional? Like what is your creative use of the space? Because often we have to be pretty creative with our use of space. And yeah, all of those things really are so interesting to me. Now, something I'm noticing is the black, and it's not even true black. I used Payne's Gray, either straight Payne's Gray on some of them or Payne's Gray mixed with raw umber. So it's very dark, but not true like black out of the tube. For the windows on the buildings, those dark spots definitely pull attention as being the darkest value on the piece. This text in True Eccentric is also black, but it is not the same, it doesn't have the same variation and weight that these do. But I'm generally okay with these being something that draws a lot of attention. That is kind of a point of them. So for now, that's something that is totally fine and we will let be. This circle shape now is drawing a lot of attention as a focal point. And I don't want that to be. Like it got a little framed out with everything else. And it's directly over her face. So I will break that up so it doesn't become like this light focal point in that piece. Focal point wise in here, I think I will go in and add, it's very tiny, her face. I would like to be more contrast. I would like to have more contrast because I don't want this face to draw more attention than this figure. So her face definitely needs, with a very, very, very tiny brush, some higher contrast to make it pop a little bit. Like maybe I will also give her like a bright red lip, but punch it more. Like her tones are actually fairly flat. There's not real high contrast between the lights and the darks on her face. So if I can pump them up here and have a little spot with a lot more contrast, hopefully that will pull more attention. And I don't have the issue with blacks here because the blacks in the text are chunkier, and there's here and here. But these shapes do draw a lot of attention, so I'll need to add more texture in the bottom of this piece. So that's what I'm thinking there. Okay. Let me grab some of my... Oh. Almost forgot to put the lid on this guy. And every time I do that, I end up with a mess to clean up. All right. Pull out any dry stuff that I can, because it just gets worse the longer it sits. Oh, another benefit to this space set up the way it is my little fuzzy butt, Watson, he has a great place to sleep. It's kind of like there's a spot in a desk that's in the corner that's like where you would pull up a chair, but I'm not using the desk that way, so it's kind of mostly covered, but it's like a little cave. And at some point you might have to share it with a little bit of stuff as storage, but maybe I'll fill a cat bed in there, but he's never been one to like really go for a cat bed. So maybe I'll just fold a towel or a blanket and see if he cares. The only cat bed I ever had for him, he was just like, nah, man, nah. So that got donated, cleaned up and donated. Okay, so I was going to go for paint marker. I have my my palette over on the side here so I can kind of pound out things and get them flowing. Let's go paint. All right. So we are going to break apart. This is more of a tan yellow, but will get us going. I'm going to break apart this with other shapes up here, this circle. So it's not like this clear cut point of attention. Grabbing the silver a little bit more, trying to get it out of the glare. Huh. Maybe I just need to move this up a little. Will that help? No, not at all. Well, there's also sunshine coming in from the window at the moment too, so that's not probably helping. Well, I can go with it. So I'm drawing some kind of geometric-y shapes, and that will sort of reference a lot of what's going on here, the kind of geometric wonky shapes of the buildings, the shapes I have up here, but I'm especially just trying to break things up. Maybe I'll fill in a couple of the squares that I just made for now. So I'm just making some smaller bits of pattern. Breaking up expanses of space, especially that circle that's starting to now disappear a little bit. A little bit. Not as much as I would like yet. But we're getting there. Oh, okay. Let me try moving these in the camera over here. See if that might be a little bit better. That's a little bit better for at least that piece. A little bit. I don't know. The sun decided to come out. I probably should get some shears and put up. So right now they're just like, in this room, just still those cheapo vertical blinds that were in the place when we got it. So the window's either the sun's coming in unfiltered or it's, you blacked it out. There's not really much in between. Got my awesome jar for my brushes. Oh wait, that's completely out of here. Here we go. Now you can see it. The Stuff. I love that movie. It's great. If you're looking for something kind of silly, silly movie, some light body horror, not a commentary on capitalism and consumerism, 80s, but fun and silly. I recommend The Stuff. And now, get brighter yellow in here to balance out. think I'd like a nice drip too. So the nice thing about the Posca is it's pretty easy to get a drip going. You just sort of, usually anyway, unless it's getting low on color altogether. There we go. Just gonna work it up there and let that drip go. Shake it down. There, if I turn it a little bit, its colors are a little more accurate. And I'm okay with the color coming down and overlapping on the text a little bit. All right. I'm liking what's happening up here mostly. And I think as long as I've got this guy out, I'm actually going to add a little bit of an outline kind of coming off of this yellow shape onto my girl here. Gotta be kind of careful because this is a big fat tip and she's very tiny. I would like to get some more. I randomly have like 2 fine-tipped Posca markers that I got used. I found them used or lightly used. So I would like to get more. They're a little pricey. And right now, the priority has been getting the studio functioning in the best way possible. I'm going to continue this line down and onto the umbrella a little bit. And give it a little drip there. I might pick up just a little bit of the paint over the and. I'm okay with it being semi-translucent there, but I don't want to lose it altogether. Hi, Bubby Cat. It's not dinner time yet. Not yet. It's only 11. So that does have the added benefit of drawing your attention here versus here too. So I'll probably need to do a little bit less on her face, but I will still make some minor adjustments. It just requires a very tiny brush and some precise detail additions. Okay. They're not entirely done, but we made really great progress on both of these today. So it's going to be kind of minor things that they need to bring these 2 done, and then the other 4 that I have started with just some collage and background painting. I got these. This one I got my sketch on already. That's what I will be adding on things onto next. So yeah, some of it will be on stream. Assuming, like, I'm gonna really try to get a better setup so that it's easier to see what I'm doing. More comfortable for working. That's the next stage of working on things besides getting my lights installed and some more artwork up on the walls. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I think if you join me on Monday evening, 7 p.m. Central, I will do a little studio tour because hopefully everything will be done and set by then. If not, I'm still going to show you what I have. It's really close already. And that should be fun. Get a little goofy, do some colorful craziness. And I hope to see you then. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have an amazing and creative day. I hope that your Thursday is awesome, your Friday is awesome, and then it's the weekend. And hopefully the weather will be nice enough to enjoy. Maybe. Springtime. Anyway, bye. Have a great day.